Honorable judges, my dear students, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. It's my great pleasure to have a lesson today. So today, before we're going to take this new lesson, I'd like to show you two interesting pictures. Now, please look at these pictures. Now, can you tell me what is the relation between those two pictures? Can you find it? What is the relation between these two? The left one and the right one? Now, how about you?
Direction.
Yes, they are in opposite direction, right? So we can say these are the same picture, right? So sometimes we can appreciate one picture from different kind of angles and even different directions, right? So, and also we can deal with the matters in our life from different angles and different directions, and even sometimes from the opposite side, right? Okay, so this is a kind of analytical thinking. Analytical thinking is one of the philosophical theory raised by a man named Bertrand Russell. So I'm sure that you know the Chinese of Russell, right? 罗素, right? So now Russell was a British philosopher, mathematician, and writer. One of his representatives is entitled Models and Others. And today, we are going to learn a lesson that is taken out from this collection. Now, the article was entitled, Why We Enjoy Mishaps. Now, today we are going to have a translation class. Before we are going to translate an article, first we should be clear of two important elements. The first one is a type of writing, and the second one is a style of the writing. So I'm sure that you have previewed the lesson, right? Yes, okay. Now, can you tell me what is the type of this writing? Is this one the narration? Is this one the narration? Yes or no? Yes, are you sure? Now pay attention to the last paragraph. Is this one the narration? No. So, gentlemen, what's your opinion? Okay, very good. So this one is an argumentation, right? Okay, so this one is an argumentation. And the second one is the type, that is a style of the writing. Now, what is the style of this writing? Is this one formal or informal? Formal or informal? Think about this one. How about you, lady? Informal? Okay, so it seems that you are not so sure about this one, right? So usually when we have a kind of informal style, maybe we will have some oral English in it, right? So it seems that, how about this one? No, right? So all of these are in formal style, right? And we can say this is a formal and philosophic style. So an argumentation in a formal and philosophic style. So I think that this kind of essay should have a very strong logic in it, right? So now how to represent logic in the target language? Maybe coherence comes first. So today we are going to learn how to now translate an essay, and especially how to achieve the coherence with translation techniques. And you may say that we have so many different kinds of translation techniques, right? But we cannot cover all those in just 20 minutes of time. So today, I will select some typical one for you. Okay. Now, talking about coherence, usually we will analyze from three levels: paragraph, sentence, and word. And today, we will introduce from three different kinds of techniques as reference, amplification, and negation. So now, first one about coherence. So this is our core today, and we're going to come to the first level, that is a paragraph. So usually, when we are going to write a passage, write an article, we would like to use some connection to make the paragraph transit smoothly, right? So that is a coherence. And usually the writer will use reference. So what is a reference? Now reference can be classified into three groups in English. They are personal one, demonstrative one, and comparative one. So they have different kind of markers in the English language. As now we can say, personal one, we have he or she, and demonstrative one, this or that. And then the last one, comparative one, is. So now you will have a clear idea that reference is a kind of expression to connect different kind of paragraphs, right? And to refer to something that we have mentioned above. So now I will give you 1 minute for you to scan through the whole passage and pay your attention to the first sentence of each paragraph. Try to find out what kind of references that they also use to connect different kind of paragraphs. So just 1 minute to go. You can focus your attention on the first sentence of each paragraph. Okay, time is up. Now, can you tell me what kind of reference does it also use? Which one? Personal one or demonstrative one or comparative one? Okay, very good. Demonstrative one, right? So good. So now you can say, here are the 3 beginning sentences of the last 3 paragraphs, right? So I can say the words in red to have a kind of reference in it, right? These are the demonstrative references. So as a translator, we have to keep this kind of reference in our talking language so as to achieve the coherence, right? So here, now I want to invite one group of students to translate those 3 sentences. Keep in your mind with this kind of reference in our Chinese language, okay? So now how about this group? Now how about you, the lady? The first sentence, can you translate this one? Mm-hmm. 我看到了相同的事情 right? So we can say here, 我看到了相同的事情 or we can say observe, may say that we experience, right? 我也经历过相同的事情我有过相同的经历 And then, now the second sentence, that is in paragraph 3. Now how about you, lady? Mm-hmm.
不幸的是，这种心情，这种非常适合于一些小晦气的事的心情。
Okay, very good.
是不能被避免的。
Okay, very good. Now pay attention to this one. 这种心情是非常适合的 but you should pay attention to this one. Now I can say that the relative sentence that could be prevented. This one, now we should refer to the mishap, right? Okay, so maybe you can find this one. 这样的心态在对待无法阻挡的小事故的时候，可能是再合适不过了。Okay, now let's come to the third one. This is one, the beginning sentence of paragraph 4. Now how about you?
这种过度的快乐的一个原因是
Okay, good. 那这种过度的快乐的一个原因是 So you can see here 这种令人费解的过分开心的原因 So you can see that you have maintained the coherence by using the reference in Chinese, right? So now the English writer can use a reference in the English language and we translator, we have to keep this kind of reference in our talking language so as to maintain the coherence. So are you clear about this reference? Yes or no? Yes, okay. So now let's move on to next step. Now next one will come to the level of sentence. Now by analyzing the sentence, sometimes we will use a technique named amplification. Maybe this word is a new word to you, but in other word that is addition. You know, addition, we add something to the original one, right? Okay, so when should we add something? There should be something missing, right? So if a sentence is a lack of sentential components like the subject, predicate, or object, right? And if the writer has an implicit meaning in this kind of passage, but he doesn't express it in words, then we translator, we can use addition to add something to make this sentence complete, so as to achieve the coherence between sentences, right? Yes, okay, now I will show you an example here. Now look at this sentence. This one is in paragraph 1. Now when the author has an experience in New York, now he mentioned, I was beginning to expect that the passengers would draw lots as to who should be eaten. So now, do you know the expression of draw lots? Yes, 抽签, right? So when we come across something that is very difficult to decide, we can use this kind of way to select it, right? Okay, so now can you translate this one into Chinese? Now think about this sentence. Okay, now how about you, the lady? Could you have a try? Okay, very good. You can say that 我开始猜测乘客们会不会抽签来决定下一个要吃谁 right? You can say here, now 决定. So she uses a kind of predicate here, right? But do we have something like a make decision or decide in the original sentence? No, right? So here we add a predicate here, right? Okay, you're very smart here. Now we come to next sentence. Now in paragraph 3, there is a sentence, light-hearted confidence was the order of the day in all the countries concerned. Now look at this sentence. What is the subject of this sentence? Yes, you got this one, light-hearted confidence, right? So it seems that in the English language, we can use object, man, or something else as a subject, right? But how about our Chinese language? Think about it. Usually, we will have a person, right? Usually, we will prefer to use man as a subject, right? So here, maybe it will be better to add the person here, that is 民众. So you can say 所有参战国的民众都自信而轻松. So you can say this sentence seems to be complete, right? Okay, so now sentence is complete, then we can achieve the coherence, right? So that is something about amplification. You can use it when something is missing in the sentence. So now let's come to the next part. That is a small listed unit of the passage. That is word. Now for the word, we use a very special technique. That is negation. Maybe you do not know what is negation. It doesn't matter. I will show you. Now first, you should have a clear idea about what are negative markers. So in the English language, we have some words like no, not, or none. And also we have some prefix and suffix like in, on, or less. And all of those markers to indicate something that is negative, right? Yes, so we still have those kind of negative markers in our Chinese language. So can you name some? 不, right? Or we can say 没有, right? So these are the negative markers, right? So now I will show you how to use negation. Now in this passage, paragraph 3, here is a sentence. It goes like that. That in the first days, there were very few who were saddened by the prospect of horrors to come. Now this sentence, now we have very few here, right? But we do not have no, not, and none. So this one seems to be affirmative, right? Affirmative in the English language. Then if we keep this one as affirmative, in Chinese, it may go like that. 头些日子很少有人会为可能发生的可怕状况而忧心忡忡, right? Is this one right? So you are nodding your head. You say yes, right? Okay, now think about this one. I'm sure that you know the difference of a few and a few, right? Then reconsider about this one. Few and a few. Now they also use this few here, right? So it seems that they also want to mention something that is not, right? Okay, so if we change this expression but maintaining the meaning, so it may go as negative in Chinese. That is, 头些日子，几乎没人会为可能发生的可怕状况而忧心忡忡 right? Yes, it seems that this one is better, right? Okay, now, so you may know that negation is a way to reconsider, to change our thinking mode, sometimes from affirmative to negative. And sometimes we can also change from negative into affirmative. Now, next one. This is the ending sentence of this passage, the last sentence of this passage. Now, the incident is, of course, in itself regrettable, but the mere fact that it is unusual redeems it. Now, can you tell me what is this one the negative or affirmative? Affirmative? Now look at this word in red, unusual. It has a negative marker here, right? So we can say this one is negative in English. Then if we keep this one as negative in Chinese, it may go like that. 这样的祸事儿本是可悲的，然而这份不同寻常 ，right? You can say 不同寻常 seems to be quite equal with the English language, unusual, right? But consider about this one. Now they also use unusual to refer to something that is rarely happen, right? But does not indicate that this thing is different from others, right? So the focus of the author's intention is to mention the rareness, right? So can you use some other word to replace 不同寻常? So consider about this one. So the rareness in Chinese is what? What is the rareness? So maybe this one we'd better interpret as this one. That is, 这份稀奇感可能就掩盖了悲伤, right? So we seldom experience such kind of thing, right? So it seems that if we put this one into affirmative, it may be more acceptable and more natural. Do you agree? Yes, okay. So today we have mentioned coherence. How to achieve the coherence from 3 levels of paragraph, sentence, and word. And we have used 3 different kind of techniques. That is affirmation, negation, and reference. And you can also use some other techniques as you like. But keep in your mind the most important thing when translating an essay, especially in an argumentation with strong logic, that is to keep the coherence. Okay. So after class, you can use your own technique to finish your assignment. The first one is to translate the whole passage. Pay attention to the coherence, okay? And then another one is the reading. I hope you can read more, especially this one by Russell, that is Mortals and Others, since reading can not only help your translation, but also will be helpful in your future life. So now, in the next period, we are going to have a comparative study of your translation with my translation. Since there is no best translation, we just have better ones, right? So keep practicing, my future translators. I'm sure that you will do a better job, okay? So that is all for today's class. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for your teaching. I'll ask you 2 questions.
Okay.
The first question is about the text. And referring to one of the examples you used, that is the very last sentence of the text, where, the incident is, of course, in itself regrettable, but the mere fact that it is unusual redeems it. What do you think the last word "it" refers to here? And how do you understand the phrase, the verbal phrase redeems it?
Okay, thank you.
And how would you explain that to the students?
Okay, thank you for your question. Now, I think that redeems it, first, it refers to that is regrettable. So then, now redeems it means that since this one is unusual, we seldom experience this one. So when we experience something like that, we will feel happy and not so think that is misfortune. So this kind of sense will redeem this kind of regret. Okay, so this is the first one. And just now you mentioned redeem. And redeem means that something will compensate, right? When we experience this one, actually, it is a misfortune, right? So some people will feel sad. But actually, when we reconsider about this one, it seldom happens. So we are so lucky that we experience this one. So it will redeem this one, compensate this kind of feeling. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And the second question is more about teaching. And when you were preparing this lesson, I want to know what kind of students you had in your mind. Do you think you are teaching sort of students of translation majors? For example, now we have BTI, right? Or are you teaching students who are actually English majors, learning translation as an additional skill that they need to master, even a skill that can actually enhance their learning, their acquisition of this language, which is English here?
Okay, when I got the notice to come to this kind of competition, I just know that the students come from the freshman or the sophomore. But I do not know whether they are English major or translation major. So I just pray this one for an English major. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.